everybody. So it's been about a month since I did my last reading wrap up, give or take a week or two. I've got 5 books here that I finished that I'm going to talk about, give you my thoughts. And I really surprised myself this month. I got more reading done than I thought I would, but pretty much bound to the couch right now with the pelvic girdle pain and just general end of pregnancy fatigue. So let's get into it. There's 5 of them here, and I'm going to go through them in the order in which I read them. So if you want to check that out, stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing I read was a graphic novel, Marvel's Runaways, Find Your Way Home. Just like all the other graphic novels I read recently, there's more to the story before this, but it was fine. They did a really good job of explaining things in the past. I really liked the characters. They're all younger, and most of them have superpowers except for one, I believe. And they even have a dinosaur that tags along. He's like their pet, so that was fun. There's a crazy grandma with like surveillance cats, so if that sounds like something you're into, and people coming back from the dead, people with superpowers, I would definitely check this out. It was pretty good. I would say 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. Really don't have much more to say about it, sorry. I mean, I wasn't crazy about it, but I did enjoy the characters and the story, so. Marvel's Runaways, Find Your Way Home. Oh, the reason I got this is because Rainbow Rowell. I've heard really good things about her work, so I thought I'd check this out. Chris Anka, I don't know if he was the illustrator or if he co-wrote, but I was pretty happy with the artwork too. So that's that. The one graphic novel I read this month. And I had mentioned that I've been working my way through Alice Hoffman's books. If you saw my TBR video, you'll know that Fortune's Daughter was my next Alice Hoffman to read. I ended up really liking this, but let me tell you, being pregnant and being a mom of a daughter, this was not the book to read at this point. I cried so much. Basically, the story is about 2 women who meet at different times in their lives, because one's older and one's younger. They both have unplanned pregnancies, and that's something that they kind of bond over, even though they don't really know it at first. And it's just kind of their individual stories and how they intertwine. I'm not good at explaining these kind of things, but the older one reads tea leaves. I thought that was really interesting, and that's how she encounters the younger one, who has an unplanned pregnancy by her boyfriend, who's a jerk. But their lives take different paths, but it's interesting to see, as women, their individual stories. There's a lot more to it than that, but just to surmise, that's it. It's very touching. It has some magical realism, which is kind of her thing. I enjoyed it. Like I said, a lot, and I cried. This is very touching, very poignant. My high school teacher would be proud of me for remembering that word. So yeah, Fortune's Daughter. If you're into like magical realism, I would give this a check out. Can't speak. Anyway, Fortune's Daughter. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Okay. Next, I read Emergency Contact. This wasn't one I was planning on reading, but it's been on my shelf for a while, and it was just kind of calling to me. It is a very pretty book, or was a pretty book, till a certain toddler dumped out my coffee on it. But this is about a girl who's kind of an introvert. She goes off to college. She meets her roommate's uncle, relative, who's also younger, but he's older than her. And they decide to be each other's emergency contacts. She finds him in the throes of a panic attack one day and helps him. And most of the story is through text, where they text each other a lot and they kind of form a relationship that way. It was cute. I think, it's a YA, so it would appeal to that group. The blurb is by Rainbow Rowell. I heard good things about it. I really liked it at first, and then in the middle it kind of just dragged, and I was like, are they going to get together? Is anything going to happen? Do I even care? And I think that's just my general irritability right now. Something has to really hold my attention. Sweet, cute romance. I'm going to sound like a geezer for saying this, but a lot of times with the texting, I couldn't tell who was saying what. I know, like, one person's on one side and one's on the other, but I didn't know who was who most of the time, so that might have been my big hang-up with this. But 3 stars. It was okay. Sweet little love story. Pretty book. Looks good on your shelf. Contemporary, romance, YA. Okay, let's get on to some stuff I liked a lot. Picked this up when Victoria and I went to the mall for the New York Comic Con Pops. This was on clearance at Books A Million. I'd heard good things about it. And when this book came out and everyone was talking about it, I thought it sounded like an Alice Hoffman book. It did not disappoint. This was a very good book. A town, like a harbor town, gets visited by the ghosts of these 3 sisters who were drowned as witches like 200 years prior. Every summer they come back and they kind of terrorize the town in the sense that they drown some of the young men. And this one girl hopes to break the curse. She encounters a young man who is not a local, and they're trying to kind of wrap their heads around what's happening with these terrible events each year. There's a lot more to it than that. I say that a lot. I'm really bad at summarizing. Sorry. If you're still watching, bless you. But I couldn't get enough of this. I stayed up late one night to finish it. I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. Like, really good magical realism, witchy, mystery, because they, the witches inhabit the bodies of young ladies in town. They each choose like a host, and you don't know who it is, and there's accusations in town, and people are kind of cavalier about holding each other prisoner to see, you know, when they have suspicions. I don't know. I'm sorry. This is really good, though. I gave this 4 stars. I think this is the best thing I've read this year, aside from Night Shift, but it's a short story collection, so they're not really in the same category. I don't normally keep books unless I really enjoy them, so I think I am going to hang on to this one for a little while. So that one will go on the shelf. The best book I read, well, it's behind here, but last year was Undead Girl Gang. So I would put this up there with that. They're not really the same, but maybe I'll do an end of the year wrap up. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. Okay. Another one from my TBR. Nancy Drew, number 9, The Sign of the Twisted Candles. Nancy and her cousins, or her friends who are cousins, George and Bess, they're in every book with her. They go to this mansion that's been turned into an inn. It's owned by an old man, and it's run by some kind of sketchy people on his behalf. The family has not heard from the gentleman in a while. He's getting very old. He's about to be 100 years old, and supposedly has a sizable fortune. So, of course, all the family has an interest, and they haven't been able to reach him. So Nancy and the cousins go to investigate. They meet the fellow. He's very sweet, and things kind of unfold from there. You know, there's suspicions that people that work there are stealing from him. Family members are starting to, other family members are starting to kind of creep around, make their presence known, trying to edge in and hopefully get an inheritance. You know, there's a lot of drama in that sense. A lot of scratching and clawing over the family fortune, supposedly. Lots of intrigue. There's a mystery. But I will say, you know, I've been reading these in order. This is the best one I've read so far. It went pretty quickly for me, and I actually really enjoyed it. The rest of them, for the most part, I've just been kind of, was kind of reading through it, you know, not super interested. But this one really held my attention. I don't know what it was about this story in particular, but I really enjoyed it. And it had, I want to say, a 3.7 or a 3.9 on Goodreads. So that surprised me. Usually I don't rate kids' books, and I definitely consider these to be kids' books, but I felt like this one needed a rating. I think I gave it 4 stars, maybe 3.5. Like I said, best one I've read so far. If you're going to pick up a Nancy Drew book, I would recommend this one. I feel like this is a good one to start with because it would probably hold your attention better than the others. Maybe not. You can always start with The Secret of the Old Clock. Anyway, managed to read 5 books in just over a month. That's pretty good for me. I am doing a lot of reading right now as I'm sitting on the couch most days. So I'm not going to do another TBR video right now because I still have 2 books from my last one that I'm still reading, and I've pulled a few other things to read. So maybe I'll go over what I'm reading, my IG stories, or at some other point maybe I'll just do a post. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, let me know so I can make some more. And if you've read anything good, please tell me. I'm always looking for stuff to add to my shelf or to pick up. And be sure and give Super Geeked a follow and like our content so we know what to make more of for you and what to put out into the internet. Thanks for joining me to talk about books, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.